Inclusion is a really important topic. It goes back to that least restrictive environment we talked about in the IDEA laws and the free and appropriate education. Basically, special needs children need to lead lives as close to normal as they can. And there were laws, in the IDEA laws, establish that students be placed in an environment that they can learn in that is the least restrictive from what a normal child would receive. I'd like you to watch the video of the little girl who is in an inclusive preschool program and just see what it looks like to have a child that is inclusive in a classroom. But that learning environment should be natural, and it should be natural not just in a school setting, but in life. So settings that are natural for a child are settings that would be a normal place you'd see children. Childcare centers, schools, parks, neighbors' houses, zoos. Anywhere you would see a child playing and learning naturally is the kind of environment we want to try to integrate them into. Now, depending on their disability, sometimes that's possible and sometimes it's less possible. Sometimes it's possible, but they don't learn as well in that environment. And that's where it comes down to the wording least restrictive environment. We want them to be in an environment that is normal, but also that they can learn in. So we have to find that balance, and sometimes it's a matter of trial and error. And unfortunately, children with disabilities often go through several placements before they find that environment that is the best match for them. But then they stay there. Now, when we talk about inclusion, where we have our students with special needs in the regular classroom with all the other learners, there are a lot of benefits. And there's benefits not just to that child. There's benefits to, of course, the child with disabilities, but also the other children in the classroom that do not have disabilities. There are benefits to the community, benefits to families with disabilities and children of families without disabilities. If you look on page 162 of your text, I want you to look at those benefits. They have them broken down in a chart that's really clear, and sometimes we don't realize the benefits of meeting these children. Just last night, I met with a family. I saw a mom of some of my students that I had had in the classroom, and I had had their daughter in first grade. Now, when I had her in first grade, she was a normal child. She had no disabilities, no health problems. Later on, I kept in contact with the family, and when she was in about fourth or fifth grade, she started having some trouble, and her mom asked me to tutor her, and I did. And we just saw that she had these big holes. It wasn't until about a year later we found that the reason why she had these holes is because she was having seizures, and not the kind of seizure where a child is physically seizing, but her brain was blanking out in these seizures. So she looked like she was sitting in class quietly, but her brain was inside having this big storm, and she was missing large pockets of instruction. And this is the reason for this very bright girl to suddenly have these big holes. And so her health concerns got worse, and her seizures got worse, unfortunately. And at one point, her health was deteriorated that we didn't know if she was going to live. Luckily, they got her on a diet that successfully removed the seizures, and she is now in a full classroom back with her peers. Although she's not the same little girl, the seizures had severe damage on her brain. So she's not the same little girl, but she still has the same friends. And just last night when I ran into her mom, it's hard to be a parent of a child who goes through these health concerns. And her mom was out for dinner and said, I am so lucky to have a community that supports my daughter and looks out for her. And some of her friends took her to a high school musical that night, and she got a break. She got to go out for dinner and relax and be a normal mom instead of a mom of a special need child for that night. And so the community, their involvement with the child and other families' involvement, they enjoy being with this little girl. She's a phenomenal little girl, and they benefit from that relationship with her. But it's just one of those full circle relationships where the more people involved, the greater the reward to everybody. So watch the video, and then I want you to do one of two things. I want you to read the chart on 162, and I want you to think if you have any connections or prior knowledge working with a child with special needs or observing a child with special needs. It doesn't have to be in an educational environment. If you know of a child and you've seen them at the playground or they're a family friend, tell me your story. Tell me about the specific experience you had and what are the benefits that you saw to this child being included in normal practices, normal everyday natural learning environments. If you have no experience with special needs children in your personal life, then use that video that we viewed and share a benefit that you saw directly from the video. And we're going to share that in the Padlet board.